Alright guys, so we are getting closer here. So we're going to use this as a supercharging fan on the 4-stroke. So I know this sounds hilarious and this is a server fan that goes in that case there. So this is an extra one I had. And let's see if we can do this without losing a finger. Oh yeah. Yeah, so there's like this huge debate over turbochargers and superchargers and blah 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 and a 4-stroke and honestly I don't think either are gonna work, so we're gonna try this just to see. I got the tack up there. We're gonna see if this does anything. This is a server fan and it's literally like a leaf blower. It shoots air out at like 120 miles an hour. But I took it out of a server, put it in, printed some brackets all up so y'all can see. Got my filter mounted. I can't put the thing, so I just put a coffee filter over this. No need crap getting in the valves. So I'll give you guys a little test. Let's see if we could do this. I'll probably use one of the RC lipos since it's easier. But you can hear it. Not a big draw. Alright. So, here is a little rundown of why you can't use a turbo. Well, number one, the valve structure of these small motors. You gotta really get up to like 300 and 340, something like that, cc's to really be able to use a turbocharger, because you have to change the valve sizing and stuff, and there's a lot of math involved, and you need fuel injection to be able to change the fuel ratios going in and out. I mean, in theory, olden days, you could use 2 carburetors. Oh yeah. Then you're really getting into some crazy shit. So, I mean, you could stack 2 carbs, I guess, in theory. But, I don't know. I mean, for the amount of money that it would cost to put in this turbocharging, a 79 110cc motor, you could buy a 300cc motor that has 10 times the power. So it's not practical. You could spend just $600 on a fuel injection system alone. I mean, why do that when you could buy a larger motor and it's 6 times the horsepower? I mean, it's just, you know, it's funny when you hear people talking about all this stuff. So anyways, we're going to supercharge one. Now, I've got a lot of history with building motors, so I'm just going to say my theory right out. I don't even think this is going to run at an idle. I think it'll just die. I think it'll choke it right out. It's going to blow so much air in, it's not even going to pick up the fuel, and it's going to die. High RPM, it's either going to do nothing, because the airflow is going to, I don't know, you know, I really don't know. You're going to hit a wall in the valves at higher RPM, because the valve just can't, there's just not enough volume that can pass through the valves. So even if you're cramming this in, it can't expel it quick enough and stuff. So you can't put it in. I don't know, you know. At high RPM, it's either going to do 0 or maybe a little bit. I doubt it, because even if you could achieve a boost for a couple seconds, there's not enough fuel flow. So in theory, you would need a second carb dumping about the same amount of fuel in to even create a boost. So all these little turbo things and supercharge, it's kind of bullshit items, I think. But anyways, this is going to cram a massive amount of freaking air in. I mean, you know, it's going to draw air in, blow it out. I mean, if that doesn't put this to rest, I mean, I don't know what else to tell everyone. But, I mean, to turbocharge or supercharge a little motor like this, you really need to do some extensive valve work. You would need to change the size of your exhaust port. You need different cam timing. You need more fuel flow. It's a lot of stuff. So, I mean, it's just not practical on a small motor. It's just the limits of this motor would be so far exceeded too that everything else would fail on it. You know, you would crack the jugs and pistons would melt, and I mean, they're just not designed for it. So we'll try this just to see. I mean, not to say this is the perfect setup or anything, but I mean, that's the closest you're going to get to a real world working setup here. I 3D printed some brackets. I put one of the fans in. It's like what you see on all the little eBay sites and crap for turbocharging your car and blah blah blah, and you know, one of those kind of bullshit things. So anyways, we're gonna run this, we're gonna do it at an idle and try and rev it up and see if it even idles. I have no idea, I haven't tried yet. And then we're gonna full throttle, well, we'll like half throttle it, kick it in, and see if there's any change in RPM. If it's going to create any kind of boost, it's going to jump up the RPM. So, we'll just see. I really don't have high hopes for this, but just for fun, let's do it. Right. Okay, so, yeah, when it was idle and when I got it, I missed it the first time. But when the fan started going, it actually checked out the motor. So, alright, so what I'm going to do is created a stop point. I don't feel like changing that. What I'm going to do is it'll throttle only to that point. My throttle's disconnected with the motor. Alright, so it can only throttle so far. I'm going to get this revved up, hold it at that point, and put the blower on it, and then I'm going to check the thing and see if it increases the RPM or not. Alright, let's give this a go. So, this did absolutely zero. So, anyways. So, what it is the valves can only take in so much volume and stuff in these little motors and put out so much. So, to put out enough exhaust through the pipe, it wouldn't have enough to spool up a turbocharger. So, that's completely stupid for a little tiny motor. I think you have to get to about like 340 cc's, something's in that area, before it even really is worth it, and that's with fuel injection. So you're looking at some serious money. Now, as far as this goes, I mean, this is kind of holding true to what, you know, most say. You put too much air in when it's idling, it'll die right off the bat, which it does. Up at higher RPM, well, even though you're blowing more air in, it probably does some extent a little more power out. I doubt it very much, because you're limited by the valve structure of the small engine. So, and then also the carburetor would need to dump more fuel at the same time. So, I mean, that could get pretty involved. But anyways, as far as can you supercharge or turbocharge the little 70cc, 80cc, you know, 110cc motors, I highly doubt it, unless somebody did some major reworking of the valve systems and cams, and you would have to have probably a secondary carb to dump more fuel in once it hit a certain RPM. And I don't know, I guess you could, but I definitely won't be going that far. But anyways, I did this just for fun, just to see. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll put this back together now. Alright, peace.